halfway, more than halfway into my trip to Tromsø. But you know, Tuesday is Trippin Diaries day, and I'm here in the airport. So let's do this. Not gonna do this Trippin Diaries about my journey to Tromsø, which is taking me 48 hours. That's boring as hell. If you like the on-the-go updates, as I always say, just go on Instagram. I bore people with stories of airports, bus stations, and trains. But speaking of trains, I wanted to do a quick video about the night trains, the Russian night trains, which, you know, a lot of people, especially people traveling around this part of Europe, I'm in Oslo, by the way, people usually talk about traveling to Russia and doing the Trans-Siberian, and doing the Trans-Siberian means you're basically living in a train for a number of days. I don't know how many days, but I wanted to talk to you about what those trains are like, because the train I took from St. Petersburg to Moscow are exactly the same kind of trains that you take in the Trans-Siberian. So the first thing to understand is that those trains have 3 different types of tickets that you can buy, and this is probably the 3rd time I'm saying this, but if you're going to buy tickets to Russian trains, make sure you buy them on the official website. Don't go on the English website. You need to buy in Russian because it is like more than 50% cheaper. So you can buy 3 different types of seats, let's say. You can actually sit or take a seat all the way to wherever you're going, and I hear that there actually are seats available in the Trans-Siberian. Can you imagine that? Well, this train to Moscow was 7/8 hours long, so to be seated in that train wouldn't be that bad, and that's the cheapest kind of ticket that you can buy. The second type of ticket that you can get is the open carriage bed. So it's literally bunk beds inside a carriage. So you can buy those, and that's the one I got because the receptionist at the hostel who helped me with all the Russian in the website, she recommended that instead of the best kind of the first class ticket, which is in a private cabin. You know, it wasn't that much more expensive than the open carriage one, and I was inclined to take it, but she said no, take the open carriage one and you're gonna understand it once you get on the train. And to be honest, it was the best decision ever, because the enclosed cabin is like the same 2 sets of bunk beds, but it's completely enclosed with a door in the front, and obviously you don't choose who you get to go with in the same cabin. They told me that it's gender specific, so you're not gonna share it with a man if you are a lady. Which is okay, but then again, you never know who you're sharing with, and depending who you're sharing with, it can be a nightmare. I still felt a little bit claustrophobic in that train because it's a lot of people, and you know, obviously they're trying to fit as many people as they can, and also the bunks, I don't know why, like the bottom bunk is fine, and the bottom bunk is a little bit more expensive for a reason because it's a bit like higher. But the top bunk, I don't know why, there's like a metal shelf above you, and it gives you, it can't be more than 70 centimeters. Literally, to get in and out of that bed is so hard. The way to Moscow, so my first time in the night train, was not a very comfortable experience at all, and it was my own fault actually because, and here's another tip for you if you're gonna get on those trains. Usually if I'm getting on a train or a bus, I show up at the bus station like 20 minutes earlier and it's fine. But for those, I would recommend you get there much earlier than that, because when you get there, they give you bedding. So they give you like pillowcases and something to cover the sheet, something to cover the mattress and sheets, even a towel. You get a towel as well. So you need to make your bed, and if you think about the tiny space for all those people to make their beds, it takes a while. So get there a lot earlier, but that's not what I did the first time I took that train. I got lost on the way there, and I thought I knew my way. I'm quite good with directions, but I did not fare well in that one. And I literally got there 30 seconds before the train was departing. But then what happened was I bought the ticket. This is gonna sound silly, but when you buy it, you can choose the carriage that you want to go in. I chose carriage number 1 because it was pet friendly. So I was hoping that there was gonna be a nice little doggo that I could play with during the trip. Anyway, so I obviously got in the first carriage I could find, but my carriage was literally the one on the opposite side of the train, which meant I had to cross about 12 carriages to my carriage. And as I've mentioned, there's not a lot of room. I had Led Zeppelin with me, which is my suitcase, and I had to drag that across 12 carriages with the train in motion, and I had the sleeping bag attached to Led, so the backpack, and I think I must have hit about 15 people on the face with my sleeping bag. I'm so sorry. And I realized as well in the train that I never learned how to say sorry in Russian after a month in St. Petersburg. What does that say about me? It was super hot. I had several layers on because it was snowing when I got there, and I couldn't take my jacket off and hold it because there was no room for me to walk past the seats and the beds, but I did get to see the entire train, which was the only good thing about it. I did get to see the cabins, like the private cabins that I mentioned, and definitely don't get those. It looks smaller. It's probably the same size as the open bunks, but because it's got walls around it, it looks even smaller, so don't do that. So I eventually got to my bunk at the front of the train. I obviously didn't know what was happening because I couldn't remember which bed I booked, because you can actually choose which specific bed you want to keep. I couldn't remember which one I booked, and my bed was empty, but there was a lot of stuff in it. I was tired. I didn't know what was happening. I was like literally walking back and forth, asking the lady who didn't speak English, but she was very, very nice, the lady who works at the train. And she showed me to my bed very patiently, and I eventually made it. And it was really funny though, because there was a lady in front of my bed, and she helped me out in Russian. Bless her, she was trying, and I obviously couldn't understand everything she was saying. But funnily enough, on the way back, she was there as well. She was below me this time, and then she said to me in Russian, like, I don't know what she said exactly, but she said the words St. Petersburg and Moscow, and I remembered her. So she was probably saying to me, like, you remember me? I was in the train last time, and then she helped me out. Also, another thing that I would say about these trains is, if you can, I mean, it's not always possible, but if you can not carry big stuff with you, because there's not a lot of room for luggage. From St. Petersburg to Moscow, because I got there super late, the train was already moving, I literally left my bag next to the bathroom door, which was separated, like there's the carriage where the beds are, there's a door, and then there's the bathroom. So my bag wasn't even in the same room as me.
Med boardinggruppe A eller V, og passasjerer som reiser med spedbarn, passasjerer som har behov for assistanse, og barn som reiser alene og må gå ombord først.
You have room it's like under the bottom bunk. But if there's someone there, you're gonna have to ask them to stand up, because you need to lift up the mattress to put your bag in there. Even that space is not massive, so if you can avoid taking big stuff with you, I would definitely do that. So in terms of getting any sleep, and the idea of being able to sleep overnight was very appealing to me, and that's why I bought the bed and not the seat, even though it was a bit more expensive. But to be honest, you don't get a lot of sleep because the train is quite noisy, and you are so close to other people that, like, the first time I got the train, there was a guy, he wasn't snoring, but he was coughing every 5 seconds, and his coughs started to get into my dream, and it was really weird. I got no sleep in that first night. On my way back, it was a bit better because I was more prepared. First of all, I arrived in time, which is important. The woman's going to start speaking. So yeah, I got no sleep the first time. The second time I was there a bit earlier, it was a bit of a smoother experience. um, I did get a bit of sleep, but still, as I said, the train is super noisy. And also, sometimes, like the first train I got had some stops, and then people will get on and get off and get on again, and then they have to make their beds, and it's super noisy. So you don't really get a lot of sleep. But what I mean is, like, it's not as comfortable as you think it's gonna be. It's not like a hotel on wheels or anything like that. It's a bit tricky.